I'm Trevor.
I'm Trax. Welcome to the Red Squadron podcast.
Welcome back to week 3 of the podcast. We just want to do kind of like a recap of where we've been, what our plans are going forward, and the content that's been put out in the past 2 weeks. So our kind of resurgence was our May the 4th special. That was a good episode. It was our thoughts on seeing Revenge of the Sith in theaters with our friend group.
Amazing.
Yeah, really great watch to sum that up, but it's also a fun watch for you guys to go and hear our thoughts. And we pranked our buddy Dylan in there, so that's good.
That was a good moment.
Yeah,
that was a good moment.
Happy with that. We also started last week our gaming kind of season of playing through the campaign of Star Wars Battlefront 2, the original, and we're going to continue on kind of breaking those up either every 2 weeks or every 3, but every time there's a new release you can expect some gaming footage as well. So that should be a really fun thing. We're both excited to do that. I know I love playing that game.
I do too, but I like playing it more on PlayStation than I do Xbox.
Yeah. I mean, potato, but I enjoy Xbox, he enjoys PlayStation, so we went with Xbox.
But he's the better gamer out of the two of us. Like I'm man enough to admit that you're a better gamer. So I mean, it's more impressive. You guys can just kind of block my screen now. Just pay attention to
We're actually only going to show player one. Yeah. But yes, so that should be exciting. We're excited to get going with that, guys. We also might be dropping merch. Don't quite quote me yet, but
keep a lookout for that.
Yeah, I had somebody that was volunteered to design a logo, and it was super cool. So we'll probably be changing our profile icons and stuff like that here soon. But we're super excited to show you guys those as well.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Trax, you want to talk about today?
Yeah. So today, if you watched the May the 4th special, this came out of left field from Trevor over here. He said that Palpatine was a fraud. Do you want to expand a little bit on what you mean by he's a fraud, just like a general definition? Why,
First off, I didn't ever necessarily say. I asked if he was a fraud, and then I alluded to him being a fraud.
Yeah, okay. But I got very offended.
But I think by fraud, I mean especially growing up, and people always still think of him as the big bad, and in Star Wars, he's so powerful, he's so he controls everything, he can't lose, all this stuff. And I'm here today to kind of talk about that he can lose in my opinion to quite a few people, and that a lot of his feats have been pretty fraudulent and not as impressive as people think in general. So I'm here to show that I really don't think he's that bad of a guy, of he's not all this. He's not all that, in my opinion.
Alright. And I am on the flip side of that, alright? I think Palpatine is one of the strongest characters, probably the strongest character in Star Wars, other than maybe 1 or 2 people. But you have a ton of notes, and all my notes are right up here, so I just think...
Yeah, but you think that's going to help you, but it's not.
No,
this is going to...
See, I feel like you have to really defend your argument. I think mine is more kind of an easy one to back up. That's why I didn't feel necessary to take notes.
Imagine if you fail because you didn't prepare any notes.
Well, then we'll come back next week.
No,
we'll debate it again. We'll debate it again. We'll do best 2 out of 3 or something if I lose today.
Right. We'll put a poll out. I do pretty good in those compared to you.
What is it? 2, 3, 4, or you got 3, I got 1?
Probably.
Something like that. I don't know. I start making comebacks later in the polls once more people view it.
Hey, not to mention this. Okay, this is totally unrelated. Mm-hmm. I saw something the other day that said it was a quote from George Lucas or something, and the story became clear if you watched them 1 through 6. Why would he say that then? So we should be watching them
1 through 6.
Yeah, right. I mean, why would you say that?
I mean, I don't know why he would say that. But this is going to get us into a huge argument.
Fine. All right, that's your thoughts for later.
Yes,
later. But we'll be right back with our main topic.
Yeah. Welcome back, guys. As promised, our main topic today, we're going to be debating whether Palpatine is a fraud. If you watched the May the 4th special, we talked about that just for a little bit, and I got really, really triggered. I had to jump into the camera to make sure that I made my feelings very aware on the matter. I mean, I was surprised. I think you caught me off guard by saying that, honestly.
Yeah.
But let's dive into this. What about Palpatine makes him a fraud?
Yeah, so I first want to start by saying that I think this whole thought process and the deeper dive into what I thought about Palpatine came to be watching it on the big screen, because compared to like when I was younger and even other rewatches on like the small screen, right? The guy was less impressed with his fights. Less impressed with his fight versus the Four Jedi when they go to arrest him, and less impressed with his fight and how he stacked up against Yoda.
So what was like so unimpressive about these fights? Like what was like you're watching it and you're like, what is telling you that's not very impressive?
So I'll get more into it later in the argument, but I think in general, like, and we've talked about this off camera and a little bit on camera at times, the Force scream, I think is a little bit. I think it's a little just a plot armory, you know. Like I do, and I think just seeing 3 Jedi die, how many of them are masters? You know, all
3. Is Kit Fisto a council member?
Yeah.
Yeah. So 3 out of 4 at least.
Okay.
Are council members.
Council members.
Yeah.
And they're just iced down like that. That I didn't like, and I was like, okay, this just seems odd. And then he just starts to hold his own against Mace Windu a little bit.
Even if it's not a Force scream, like I don't know how much experience any of them had with dueling Sith. I don't think any of them have dual Kit Fisto.
That's Bunny, I think.
With
from
who?
the Clone Wars.
With who? I know we battled Grievous.
I'm pretty sure he's fought.
I only have seen Dooku duel with like Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Maybe I'm wrong. I'll have to fact check that later. I thought Kit Fisto has gone against others.
So,
I mean, Grievous is in terms of just straight fighting, is no walkover.
No, he's not. But you walk in there, he's an old dude, and you see this guy just do this Force screech on you, and he's doing, what, a 720 spin at you? Like, it would catch me off guard too.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Anyway, so I'll get more into that.
Okay.
Kind of the first part of my argument I wanted to talk about is arguably he loses 2 fights that we see in the same movie. First one being to Mace Windu. That one I don't think is as much of an argument. I think he straight up, we see him beat him, disarm him, and have him at the, blade to the neck in the film.
Now, I actually agree with that point. All right, I do think Mace Windu won that battle. I don't know, actually, if it's mentioned at all in the novel of Revenge of the Sith, whether those theories of, he was starting to let Mace Windu win because he knew Anakin was coming. Did you do any research? Are we sticking to main media here with your stuff for the most part?
So I typically start to the main media just to try and keep my sources consistent, because I personally feel a little bit like the novelizations in Star Wars, all of them really, are used to like fill in gaps and kind of create like new storylines or solve problems.
I do think the novelizations also overpower the characters a lot. Like you see them do feats that you just would never see on screen.
Yeah. So for that reason, I'm staying to the primary media. If you're somebody that's read the novelization and you want to comment down below and like point out maybe like that, it does say that he chose to let Mace Windu win, then that would be great to hear. But for my argument, Mace Windu beats him. So there's one. The second fight that I'm arguing he loses / would have lost is against Yoda. My kind of main points for this is when they first start fighting, Palpatine immediately tries to run.
Yeah.
Second, we see the fight jump around to different locations, implying that Palpatine is still trying to run. So you're not running if you think you can win the fight. There's no reason to run if you think you can win the fight.
I would say, in my personal view of that fight, at best, it's a draw. All right? Yoda could have went back up there. It became a forced battle at that point. I don't know why. It always bothered me that Yoda never went back up there. You got Palpatine hanging on to a railing and you don't want to just jump up there and do something about it. Yoda ran too at the end. Like, he could have gone back up there. So I think it was actually a tie. I don't think either of them thought they could win at one point.
Yeah.
Palpatine did get a little overconfident there, I think, but I mean, I think at best it was a draw for Yoda.
I'm arguing again, it was still like a win of the actual fight because he disarms him. So in lightsaber combat, Yoda outperforms him, disarms him. Second, Palpatine's best move, his lightning, Yoda disarms that and turns that against him. They both go flying. The only reason Yoda loses is because he's closer to the edge and falls, whereas Palpatine fell back a little bit and was able to grab onto a railing. And I think you took his best move, you negated it completely. You beat him in lightsaber combat. And I think the only reason Yoda probably ran is because A, how high up he was, and B, we see like very shortly after that there's already shock troopers in there talking to Palpatine. I think Yoda realizes this is a time-sensitive battle, and it's no longer in the favor of him being able to stop him. And that's not because he can't beat him, but it's because of outside circumstances.
Is it confirmed that Yoda disarmed him, or are you speculating?
Well, I mean, where'd his other lightsaber go?
Palpatine?
Yeah.
Palpatine's strength is in Force ability.
So you think he just...
I think he would...
He doesn't have it in his hand?
I think Palpatine was like, alright, this is going nowhere. Palpatine's best power is his Force use. And I think he thought he stands a better chance going in, delving into...
Okay, so he either physically disarms him or he metaphorically disarms him because he has to take it to another realm because he's losing the lightsaber fight.
I would say I said it's a stalemate, but...
Okay. All I'm saying is I think he arguably loses that in terms of dueling. I think he loses that. And in terms of Force ability, just because Yoda turned his only real ability against him. So I'm saying in terms of fighting, he lost. In terms of the outcome, if this can make sense, in terms of the outcome, it's a draw. In terms of the actual fighting, it's a loss.
Okay.
And the reason I want to make the distinction clear between fighting and the outcome is because it ties into my next argument of I think there's a number of people that can beat him in a fight.
Okay, because I was going to say, losing to Mace Windu and Yoda, even if, which I don't agree with you, that he lost to Yoda necessarily, those are the two most powerful Jedi in terms of dueling and Force use. There's no shame exactly in losing one-on-one to either of them, in my opinion. But that argument that you're about to make, I don't think there's like anybody else. So you go ahead and tell us, because you said 5 on May the 4th, you said there was like 5.
Yeah. I'm going to name 6 here. But
6?
6 potentially.
6.
5, it's like 5 and then 1 with an asterisk. Actually, 7. 5, 2 and an asterisk. Okay? So I have a list of 5 Jedi that I truly believe are a toss-up or victors with Palpatine. Toss-up, I mean, like have a fair chance, or at least in the conversation. And so like I'm not gonna specify, you guys can kind of figure that out for yourself, who like actually like runs away with it. Like I already think Mace Windu and Yoda beat him. So they're on this list, right? That would be my 1 and 2. My 3rd is Anakin. I think he's a great combination of the two. Great dueling, just like Mace, but also probably better Force abilities than Mace, or better connection with the Force perhaps.
Better connection, I mean, if you look at the Mortis arc,
yes.
If he actually uses his Force ability, which they always seem to damper with him in all forms of media.
Yeah.
He could go toe to toe in Force ability with Palpatine.
Yeah. So he's my 3. All right, this is where it starts to get into probably my people of like, I think they at least deserve a nod, and I think they're in the conversation. Obi-Wan, and here's why. All right, I know you're gonna immediately discount him. I have a few good points.
Okay.
First, Form 3 is obviously defensive form. All right, and he's used that to beat duelists like Maul and Savage at the same time. He's used it to beat Grievous. He has fought Dooku multiple times. All right, they have not gone his way. But
yeah, I was gonna say Dooku wipes the floor with Kenobi.
But that's experience. He's now fought him twice. All right, and I think typically if you survive that altercation, you're gonna at least get a little bit better from it.
Okay.
And I'm using the approach that I also mentioned to you off screen that I think Dooku could beat Palpatine in a duel. So losing to him, I don't think takes away from it. I'm just using it to show he's got the experience of fighting somebody as elite as him.
I'll give you the point. Dooku is probably one of the best duelists. I feel like I remember he had his own form that he created. He combined like Form 7 and Form 5 or something like that. So I'll give you Dooku as a great duelist. But are we just talking lightsaber dueling here? Or
we're talking it all. Okay.
Talking it all.
Because he also beats Anakin in the lightsaber dueling, And when they're doing the Force push against each other, it's so equal that they both go flying back. And we just said Anakin had such a strong connection to the Force. Plus, in the Kenobi show, he beats Prime Vader. And he throws all the Force rocks at him, and Vader's doing nothing about it. So his Force connection is stronger than we think. And he deserves to be on the list, potentially to be Palpatine, because of his feats alone.
Who's a better Force user between Palpatine and Kenobi?
Palpatine.
Okay. I feel like that is the ultimate trump card. I feel like they're even, at best, Kenobi's even dueling with Palpatine. I feel like at best.
Maybe, I'm sure.
So, if it turns into a Force battle, I think we've seen Kenobi that he can't handle the Force lightning that well.
Yeah, maybe not.
I don't think not Palpatine. He can handle Dooku's. Dooku's Force lightning is not as good as Palpatine.
I'm just saying, on feats alone, I think he's got a shot. Not to mention when they're in the temple, and I know you're going to probably argue that he says this because he just doesn't want to fight Anakin, but he makes the point of, don't send me to kill Anakin, I won't do it. Send me to kill the Emperor, send me to kill the Chancellor.
Well,
if this guy's the baddest Sith in the galaxy, you're not going to do that unless you got some swagger and you think that you can do it. Kenobi's not suicidal. He would have.
at that point, he might be.
No, he would have either suggested they both go kill Palpatine, or he said, "I'll take him. You go get Anakin."
No, he definitely just didn't. He literally says right after, he's like my brother, I can't do it. That's like, he doesn't want to go kill Anakin.
But think about that. He's like my brother. I don't want to kill him. He already knows he can kill Anakin.
I don't know if he can.
He already knew he could kill Anakin. So I'm just saying, anyway, unless you have more to say about him, I can move on to my next, so you'll have more to say about.
I just think Kenobi is, like you said, he's a defense artist, right? I don't think he has dealt with somebody of the caliber of Force user as Palpatine. I think that gives Palpatine the edge. Yoda even is like 50-50 with him on Force ability, and I think we both agree that Yoda is a much stronger Force user than Kenobi.
Yeah.
So I just think Palpatine will win that just because of his Force ability. I think their dueling could be a little bit close. I'll still give the edge to Palpatine. I think Palpatine has great dueling feats, and we'll talk about that in a second too.
Okay, I also think, you're missing the clutch factor.
Oh my God!
When you're down in the fourth quarter, you want a guy like Kenobi, because he has beaten all these other guys when it matters. So I'm just saying...
he rises to the occasion.
Yeah. So
he's got the X factor like a man.
Yeah, exactly. This one, you already don't like, because we talked about this off screen a little bit. This guy, alright, I might get a lot of flack for this, but I genuinely think there's an argument to be made here. Palm Krell. Standing at 7'9", 4 arms, double dual-bladed lightsabers, an actual just pure brute enforcer. Alright? I would say this one is going to depend on the setting. If they're in just a wide open space, probably like the Senate. Actually, no, it's probably fine still. Because Pong's been shown to have such high jumping and landing ability that I think he actually could have had a better chance about climbing those Senate.
Oh, trust me, Palpatine's Force choking the heck out of him.
No, he's not. And Pong Krell's an aggressor. He definitely uses the dark side of the Force. If you think about how many guys it took to take him down, it took arguably a full legion of clone troopers and the environment around them. Name any other Force user that's surviving a full legion of clone troopers and a hostile environment.
Palpatine.
No. See, I don't think there's anybody. These guys are trained, obviously, they're so highly efficient, and little do they know it, they're bred to kill Jedi. I don't care how many of them died, they got it done.
I don't know if we know enough about Pong Krell to make that a definitive, even toss-up. I will say, Pong Krell is an amazing, when you watch him fight the clones, he is an amazing, with all his lightsabers. I mean, it's kind of a cheat code. You have dual wield lightsabers. It's kind of a cheat code. And then he's obviously 7'9", like you said. He's a monster, but I think he's not the best. I think I would take Anakin over Pong Krell. There's a lot of Jedi I would take
Anakin's
over
already on the list,
Pong
though.
Krell. And I don't even think it's that close, though, is the problem. I need to know more about Punk for me to say that, but like, Palpatine is not gonna. You can hear the camera?
Yeah, but there's one still going. Oh, okay. Finish your thought and then we'll get that going.
Well, now it ruined my thought. I got distracted. We just don't know enough about him. That's my point. Force use, I have no idea. I haven't seen him use the Force in any way that makes me think that he could take Palpatine in Force use. Dueling, maybe. I don't know enough about that either. I haven't seen his lightsaber combat. I would actually be interested to see if there's any comics or novels about him.
Yeah, I don't know that. We'll have to check that.
Yeah.
All right, this is going to be probably a long segment. We've got a lot to cover, so we're going to reset the cameras and we'll be right back. All right, so cameras are reset. I wanted to go on and finish my list. These two kind of have asterisks. All right, I kind of thought of them in the after the fact. First one I want to mention is Plo Koon, and I want to be specific. The only even realm of possibility he has is like Legends Plo Koon with that electric judgment. And even then, I just think that gives him somewhat of a potential chance in terms of Force abilities, and Plo Koon's, not the worst duelist. He's pretty solid, I'd say. Like, I would take him over Kit Fisto if I had the choice.
100%. I would too.
So I think Legends, he gets a head nod for me, potentially. I also don't know how Force Judgment stacks up to Sith like Lightning power wise, but
I do know that that purple lightning is pretty OP. And I'll give you, if it's Legends Plo Koon, I will give you 50-50 at best. Okay, I'll give that to you. I'm still at only 2 technically though.
This one you're probably not gonna like either.
You're about to say Ahsoka Tano.
Yes, I'm gonna say Ahsoka Tano, and here's why. I think a sub argument is Darth Maul holds his own with Palpatine for a solid bit in their fight. Okay, and Ahsoka beats Maul. She does. I get what you're saying, but I get what you're about to say.
Maul was trying to leave. I don't know if Ahsoka actually beat him, and Dave Filoni actually talks about this. He said there's one scene after she kicks Maul out the window, you know what I'm talking about, and she's like out of breath. It has taken Ahsoka everything just to keep up with Maul. And then they get up there. Ahsoka's about to lose, to be honest. She's about to lose. But Maul wants her to join him. He's not trying to kill her until the very, very, very end. Yeah. And he thinks it's going to be... Maul's biggest flaw is his overconfidence in fights sometimes. We see it with Kenobi in Episode 1. And then I think he thought it was going to be an easy kill. He just disarmed both of Ahsoka's lightsabers. Yeah. And she's just standing there. He probably thought it was going to be really easy. So that's 2 times that Maul has gotten killed on his overconfidence. Yeah. So I actually think he beat Ahsoka in that fight.
Okay, and that's a fair argument to make. Yeah. I think there's a sub argument for her. Not to mention, we see her hold back that starship that Maul's flying away from, and we don't see many Jedi pull back starships. So I think that's a show of strength in the Force. And she's got such a strong connection to the sister. The owl, I forget the owl's name, but the owl was always around her, and she had such a connection. And she's, in the Mortis arc, she's supposed to be the embodiment of the sister, right? Anakin's supposed to be the brother, I think. Obi-Wan's the father. Yeah. Ahsoka's the sister.
Was there a painting or is that fan art? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I don't, probably fan art, okay. But I don't know.
Ahsoka... Are we talking like any time period of Ahsoka? Because if
I'm trying to keep it
Clone Wars era-ish. Yeah. Okay, because if we were talking like way down the road, like Rebels or post-Rebels, I actually think Ahsoka stands a pretty good shot. Yeah. But other than that, I don't think she stands much of a shot. Really. I will give you this. I think her dueling is actually really good for someone as young as she is. Yeah. Because she was trained by Anakin, I think she has great skills. I don't think she has the experience yet in the Clone Wars era to actually go toe-to-toe.
That's fair. Yeah. That's fair. So those are kind of my list of Jedi. That's my first reason that I think there's so many Jedi that arguably could just beat him one-on-one. And he's supposed to be the Sith of all Sith. So that's just a point. I think you bring up some valid points. I think I still have a list of some arguable names on there. This one, I think, hurts his legacy. I did want to bring this up. Palpatine had to kill his own master in his sleep.
That's a
no, this is on you to explain this. Because if he's so, why does he need to just kill him in his sleep?
I mean, that's kind of a Sith way to go out. They're not exactly the most ethical people. And you know, like...
But does he kill him because Plagueis is more powerful than him and he wants to be the guy? That's what I think.
Well,
otherwise, why do you even need to kill him? You could continue to learn from him.
I mean, he did say he taught in his spiel. He says he taught his apprentice everything he knew. So I always have the feeling that Sith, once they learn everything, like the masters always know in Sith lore that their apprentice is going to try to kill him at some point. Like, and if I was Palpatine, I don't want to mess with Darth Plagueis. Like, I mean, I would say at best, Palpatine's 50-50. You want to take that chance?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying he...
And I don't know how good... I don't know much about Plagueis in terms of canon events or anything previous, but hopefully we get that sometime, but I don't know.
But to be the guy, he killed the guy in his sleep. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, like, that right there is a little bit of exposing his fraudulent background, in my opinion. You weren't the guy until the guy was literally dead asleep, and you were like, okay, gone, buddy.
Well, I don't know. If he said he's so powerful to be able to cheat death, I don't know if I want him awake. You know, I don't know if he was just saying that to, like, get Anakin turned, but if it's legit, why would I want to kill somebody that's known to be able to cheat death alive? Like, if he's sleeping, at least he's, like, unconscious and not gonna pull some stunts on me.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but I feel like it's helping my case. He knew that he had to do it in his sleep because he'd be too much of a threat. And I think that exposes some fraudulent of he's not the guy.
But you also said that experience matters, right?
Okay.
You said experience matters with Kenobi fighting Dooku. He's learning. Plagueis has more experience. Do you want to fight somebody with more experience?
But this is still proving my point.
No, it's disproving a lot of your other ones. I have no problem if you say that Plagueis is more powerful than Palpatine at that time. I think Palpatine eventually overtook Plagueis. He lived longer, got more experience, as you like to say.
Maybe he lived longer. We don't know how long Plagueis lived.
Yeah, that's true. Let's see, wait, he was alive in the Acolyte, so Acolyte was what, 300 years before?
Before
150? Well, how many years before the Phantom Menace?
Wasn't it only something like 80?
Was it only 80?
60? Because Mindy's in it.
No. Okay, so it probably is like 60, 80.
Yeah.
So, I mean, whatever. Plagueis was more experienced at that point, is my point. And we talked about how experience matters, was your point in Kenobi. I wouldn't want to take on my master. Would you? Would you say? No, but would you definitively say? I can beat my master.
What point are you trying to argue here, though?
I'm trying to argue, like, we're sticking with. I'm saying that Plagueis is more powerful when Palpatine is his apprentice. I'm completely justifying killing him in his sleep. Like, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. That's a Sith way to do it.
Okay.
Look at Darth Malgus. I know I'm going a little bit Old Republic here. Mm-hmm. He killed his master while his master was stabbed through
Not in his sleep, though.
Oh, like that. His master didn't even have a chance at fighting back. He was sitting there and he decapitated him.
Just saying, there's still better...
Also, just real quick, if you haven't watched like the Old Republic video game, or what is it? Cinematics, go watch them. They're amazing. They're not canon, but they're cool. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay. I just wanted to bring that point up.
Okay.
Save that curveball for the end. Oh, God. I want to talk about the original trilogy now.
Okay.
All right?
Okay. Yeah.
Because I think this is where he really steps into being a fraud.
Okay.
I'm going to say this to start my argument. Absolutely zero, no feats in the original trilogy.
I mean, you can tell he's pretty strong in the Force. He sprung the
rebels.
No feats. He sprung the rebel... He had the rebels dead to right in the Battle of Endor.
So he's a strategist.
His plan... Yeah.
Name his feats.
I just did. That should have been enough. Ewoks, man, Ewoks.
Yeah, Ewoks were enough to ruin his strategy.
Yeah.
Ewoks. So
I didn't know they could take out ATSTs. That's ridiculous.
Let's be real. This is a short point. No feats in the original trilogy.
No, I'm not debating that point. He's not the...
Okay, great. No feats. Let's move on. No feats in the original trilogy.
Yeah, I'm okay with saying that. I think he's more of a politician.
And his so-called powerful force lightning that he turns on Anakin while Anakin's picking him up.
Yeah, but that's...
Anakin just tanks it. Dead. Thrown down a...
But that's a super powerful moment. That's a super powerful moment for Darth Vader. I think he's at one of his most, like... He's defending his son. Like, that's what brings him back to the light. And he's like... That is, like, the most powerful moment of Anakin's entire career.
For all of Palpatine's awareness, could sense that he was just going to get picked up. Even the robot chicken goes, oh, is he about to kiss me? Even the robot chicken version has a thought.
You're really staring into my soul here.
Yeah, this one does nothing. Picked up, thrown. Gone.
I mean...
You have an argument against that? He was picked up and thrown?
No, I don't.
Okay.
We got, like...
Moving on.
But that's not... I will say that Anakin was probably because it's Anakin now, when he picks him up. That's probably one of his most powerful moments. Defending his son, making that turn. That's probably one of his most powerful moments.
Okay, that's maybe, but that's speculation.
That's speculation.
At best.
Speculation at best.
Okay.
But it's also the original trilogy. Like, we didn't... He finally showed up in the last movie. Like,
he is arrogant.
Rightfully so. Look at his feats before that.
Directly... No, in the time of the original trilogy, he has no feats. We just went over that. He's arrogant, leading to his defeat. He could have easily, when he knew the rebels were there, destroyed them on the moon, and he could have destroyed the rebel fleet, but asked his fleet of Star Destroyers to wait. Fraudulent leader. Fraudulent leader.
Okay.
They're able to go in there with like 10 X-Wings, a few Y-Wings, and like some...
Oh, come on, that was a whole rebel fleet.
The rebel fleet is whatever they could get their hands on.
We talked about how Mon Calamari fleet is amazing.
Yeah, and there's not many of them.
No. Okay. I'll agree with you. He's not at his best. I think he did let his arrogance get the best of him towards the end. But let's not oversee the fact that he is the reason the Empire existed. It had been 10,000 years before the Sith, or whatever, I don't even know the exact date. It's been thousands of years before the Sith had risen to a prominent power.
Is he, or is Anakin the reason? Anakin, Vader's the one we've seen more feats with in the original trilogy and in the comics. He's the one out enforcing, keeping the Empire in law, his Inquisitors. He's the one that destroys Palpatine. He's the one that starts the Empire by killing Mace Windu.
Who's got Vader on a leash?
Through lies.
Through lie. Okay, so what? It doesn't matter
What
how
I'm
you
trying
do
to say
it.
is, though, Anakin started the Empire by killing Mace Windu. Well, by chopping off his hand, which led to, well, his death or whatever, right? He ends the Empire by just straight up killing Palpatine.
Why did Anakin cut off Mace Windu's hand?
Because he wanted to save Padme.
Who gave him the idea that the dark side would do that?
We've already acknowledged that there's some dialogue flaws there, because then he immediately is like, the next move's going to be to kill all the Senators. Anakin's like, you're right. So...
Yeah, that's how much that Palpatine, I think this is canon,
so Palpatine
was manipulating the dreams.
So Palpatine groomed him.
Yeah.
He's a groomer. That's about it.
That's an amazing feat. You groomed the Chosen One? Whew. He's been in the Jedi Order since he was 5, and you took him under your wing and slowly manipulated him?
Maybe. I'm just saying, I think the original trilogy hurts his legacy a ton.
You think it hurts it a ton?
Yes.
I don't think it does.
Exposes it a ton. But
well, let's look at after the fact that he dies, right? He raises a whole new fleet after he dies. He has a...
Well, I can get into that. Are you done with the original trilogy? I thought I was...
Well, I don't think
there's
not enough content in the original trilogy. Can I do a little sidetrack real quick? Since we're talking about original trilogy, Darth Vader and stuff. Okay. Who do you think is more powerful, Darth Vader in his prime or Anakin Skywalker?
Anakin in his prime, you're saying? And Darth Vader in his prime?
Anakin always like after he gets his limbs cut off, like his max potential dwindled, right? So I'm saying Darth Vader in his prime versus Anakin like 10 seconds before he got his legs cut off.
Vader.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so, and I'm going into comics here, so I feel bad about this. They actually do have a fight, Palpatine and Vader, in the comics. Palpatine wipes the floor with Vader.
Yeah.
That's an impressive feat.
Okay.
Impressive feat.
But that's because I think also in comics and books it shares that Palpatine designed the suit to weaken Anakin.
Yeah, but you just said Darth Vader is
stronger than Anakin was.
So I just took off a person off your list. That's what I did.
No. Okay, well, that tells me that you don't have a defense for his original trilogy.
Because he doesn't have a lot of screen time.
So if you're fine with that, we can move on.
The whole point of the original trilogy was the return of the Chosen One and bringing balance to the Force. It's hard to beat a prophecy.
How come, Vader's so weak, how come he beats him?
Because he went to the light side. That's when Anakin is at, that's no longer Darth Vader. That is Anakin defending his son, which I think is his most powerful moment.
Okay, sure.
That's what I think.
I don't think you got a lot of argument here for my original trilogy.
The original trilogy just doesn't have enough content for me to, if he was more prominent in A New Hope or Empire Strikes Back, then I think there's better defenses, and I think there's a ton of novelization out there that could make my point for me. But yes, I agree. His arrogance in the original trilogy messed him up.
Okay. I'm just saying, the content that it shows him being a fraud. Now, if you're ready, I can move on to the sequels.
Yes. Yep,
okay.
Go ahead.
We're going to reset the camera.
Yeah.
We're back, guys. We just concluded kind of my argument for the prequels and the original trilogy, and now I wanted to talk about the sequels and then some off points. All right? So for me, talking about the sequels, and you know what? I want to start this by saying the sequels are canon. Honestly, one of my pet peeves is people who are like, oh, they're not canon to me and they don't exist. Whether you like them or not, whether they're flawed or not, they're real. Ignoring chunks of the universe is toxic fandom.
Especially since we're expanding on it.
Yeah, in the future. Completely. I'm sorry. Do I disagree with some of the direction of the sequels? Yeah, I do. Openly, I'll say that. But for me to say, oh, I'm never showing my kids, or they don't exist in my head, and they don't.
Yeah.
Dude, come on. So I will say I disagree with something.
I am nervous for this part of our debate. I think the sequels did Palpatine really dirty, so what did the sequels do to make him a fraud? So,
just in layman's terms, the all Sith version, and I think they're trying to argue that this is the most powerful Sith ever. Palpatine, when he says, I am all the Sith, and he's taken the power from Rey and Kylo and all that, they're saying he's the most powerful Sith, is what I think they're trying to allude to. Is that what you got from that?
Honestly, I kind of thought he was just being arrogant. I think he thought, whatever. I don't know exactly what he meant by that.
But do you think...
And then Rey says, I'm all the Jedi. Does she have the force of...
I guess, but what I'm asking
and
is,
Obi-Wan
do you think that that's what the movie is trying to allude to?
I think it probably is. I think they want to hide.
This is speculation.
It's total speculation. I think that's what they're trying to allude to.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
So I'm going to use that point. The all Sith version of Palpatine was defeated by the all Jedi version of Rey. All right? That right there shows that all the Jedi are stronger than all the Sith, including Palpatine. And to your point, when she says, I'm all the Jedi, we hear all those voices. We do hear Qui-Gon, we hear Obi-Wan. Yeah. So there clearly is some force entity of all the Jedi that are actually feeling her, which then substantiates that Palpatine has all the Sith. And I feel like he mentioned if they killed him, he would take over their body or something, right? Am I making that up? There's something like that.
He wanted Rey to strike him down. I think it was metaphorical. If she killed him, she would have changed, and I don't know what it was. Mercifully kill him,
My thought was just that, somehow when Sith kill each other, they take them. I don't know entirely. I guess that's the vibe I got. I don't know if that's the vibe you got. That's the vibe I was getting.
Now, do I think all the Jedi are more powerful than all the Sith? That's a different argument to me. Alright? I think Jedi found a capability much stronger than any Sith found in terms of the Force Ghost with Yoda, Qui-Gon finding his route, Obi-Wan, Anakin eventually. I think that all the Jedi power beats all the Sith power. Okay? I just think there's levels to it. Right? I think there's only one, it's only one Jedi or one Sith. A Sith is very, very, very capable of beating a Jedi. Is my point.
He didn't.
This is why I hate the sequels.
Here's my argument that's gonna piss you off. But it's not even a real argument, it's a meme argument, but it's real. Like, he's not even the most powerful Palpatine.
Because
Rey killed him. He's not. I hate this so much!
I hate 9 did Palpatine so dirty. I don't know why. I think I'm okay with saying that Rey beat Palpatine. Because she had all the Jedi fun. I'm okay with saying that.
But
I'm okay with saying all the Jedi beat all the Sith. I'm
just keep
fine saying that.
Yeah, okay. Keep it without your personal opinion, just to trying to disarm the argument. He's not the most powerful Palpatine. Because Rey Palpatine beats him.
No, I mean...
Well, okay, how no? How no?
I mean, if you look
at... Max forms, their most powerful forms.
I do think the movie... We said it presents him at his most powerful. Okay? If we were saying that, Rey at that moment, I think could beat any Jedi. I think that's the point we have to make here. Okay. If we're saying she's all the Jedi, I think she's the most powerful Jedi ever, if we're actually going to go with that route.
Yeah.
Because if we're going to say Palpatine's the most powerful because he's all the Sith, and if there's all the Jedi...
I'm fine going with that route.
You're fine with going that? Okay. Then I don't think it hurts Palpatine's legacy that much, because I actually do agree that all the Jedi are more powerful than all the Sith.
I'm just arguing that that the all Jedi version is more powerful than the all Sith version, and I'm arguing that she's the stronger Palpatine.
Yeah, I'm actually okay with saying that. Because that's what episode 9 implied. Even if I don't want to agree with it, it's hard to argue with facts. Okay,
here's my second thing. The lightning feat was impressive.
Yes.
And I think that does actually substantiate that he's at his strongest. Because even when he's force lightning earlier, like Windu, it's just like normal lightning.
Yeah.
When he does that, it's all up in the sky.
Taking out ships.
Thousands of starships.
And it's targeted, which is incredible. It's like going 1,000 different directions, not hitting a single one of his Star Destroyers that are just lined up everywhere.
But he was only ever able to accomplish this feat after draining Rey and Kylo. Fraud.
Draining their force ability?
Their force, diet.
Oh, yeah, the deity.
Or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it's called.
So he only gets to this strongest point by stealing from those two. Fraudulent.
Yeah, that's a weird... Not many Jedi have that, though.
No, he said it was a once in every 1,000 type of thing.
Exactly.
But still, he had to even reach his form to contend, he had to steal what they had.
Which is a pretty impressive feat.
And then a weaker Rey got up with the support of all the Jedi and beat him.
That's a pretty impressive feat to be able to get the Force use. I mean, I think
enough.
Ben Solo, Kylo Ren, is a pretty powerful Force user, I think.
And it wasn't enough. So not only did he use it to get to that strongest point, his strongest point after taking that, a rare ability that hasn't been seen in thousands of years, and taking that energy,
which is impressive. It's an impressive feat. I'll say that that's an impressive feat to be able to drain the Force.
Yeah, I said that at the start.
But I think we're still kind of saying the same thing though. Is all the Jedi beat all the Sith, and that's fine. I don't think it knocks Palpatine's legacy at all. I think it knocks the Sith legacy.
I guess the reason I'm bringing it up is to show that probably a lot of people's argument of why he's not a fraud would include how strong his Force lightning was there, but I'm arguing that wasn't his actual Force lightning. it was Force Lightning boosted from the diode or whatever of those two.
And I'm okay with saying that.
So that's
I'm okay with you saying that, and
just to debunk a little bit of that feat.
I think it was. I mean, I think it's impressive that he came back to life. That's a pretty impressive feat. I think he was he limited in his clone body? Why was he always hooked up to machines? And I should know that as I'm a pro Palpatine.
I just feel like, yeah, that's on you to do.
Yeah.
If I had to, that's why I would say like they never perfected the Snoke clone. Like it had the big star, so I would just say they probably never fully perfected. Mm-hmm. And from my understanding, in a cloned body, it couldn't keep all the like midichlorian and force energy. Mm-hmm. Like it deteriorated. Like
there was like, oh, that's right. That's their bodies kept on deteriorating, so we had to keep. That's why there were so many Snoke bodies. Yeah, it's because it was just they had to cycle through them so much. That's right. Yeah.
Now listen, this is my.
Is this your curveball that you've been hinting at? Oh gosh.
You think Palpatine's Force Lightning? This is kind of going to encompass all three of my arguments: original trilogy, this, and prequels. Mm-hmm. Is his big defining factor his trump card? Yeah. Okay. So it should be able to just kill people with if it is like undefended and he's just blasting you, it'd kill you.
Yeah, it would.
Samuel L. Jackson recently got
oh my gosh, this isn't canon.
On stage, the actor and said Mace Windu lives. If the actor is getting up there and saying that, not only, maybe it's not true yet, but he is campaigning for it to be true. Okay. And somebody of his stature who all he had to say is, I want a purple lightsaber, and he got it. Mm-hmm. It will either be true or it is true. And that was pure, his hands cut off, undefended Force lightning. You see the dude's freaking skull. Yeah. And if his lightning's not powerful enough to kill Mace Windu, he's a fraud. And I think it goes back to some of those guys that you said he trumped on my list because of his Force abilities. I think it takes away from it.
But Mace Windu, we already established that Mace Windu is top 2 Jedi.
Yeah.
I don't think that's...
But maybe I just set you up, but I did. I said, undefended, it should be able to kill you. And you said, yeah.
I mean, it does. I mean, he...
Who has he killed?
Just played Battlefront 2.
Who has he killed with his Force lightning? Can you tell me?
Plenty of people in the comics.
Can you tell me names?
Not with his Force lightning. I mean, he was going to kill Luke. I think he was playing with Luke. He was definitely going to kill Luke with his Force lightning. Unless Vader stepped in. I think he was going to kill Luke for sure. Do you agree with that?
Luke had to...
Or was Luke pulling a Palpatine father?
Yeah.
Wanted his father to turn. But I think he would have killed Luke with it and then just go play Battlefront 2 or something. He just wipes through people with his Force lightning.
All I'm saying is, I think the Mace Windu thing would aids my argument.
If he did kill Mace Windu, I don't think... I mean, did he die from the fall or the Force lightning? Like, that's the question, is if he did die, how did he die? Did he die from the fall? Or,
I mean, I'm not even debating that. I'm just debating...
Or the Force lightning. If he died from the Force lightning,
you told me, and I can replay the clip in the video if you want, of when you said undefended Force lightning Palpatine should be able to kill. But unlimited power. He went all in.
Okay, so that's why I'm saying it depends on how
you better hope Mace Windu doesn't live. You better hope he don't come back.
But I don't have I personally want him to come back just for my own personal... I think that'd be great cinema. I think if he died from the Force lightning, then my point still stands. If he died from the fall, then my point kind of...
And if he lives, your point...
And if he lives, then I would say he's a top 2 Jedi. Pretty powerful in the Force. He does lean more into the dark side. He might be more... This is all speculation. Yeah. Which we've done a lot of speculating, but if he dives into the dark side of the Force a little bit more, maybe he's more well-equipped to handle the Force lightning. Yeah, maybe. I mean, he's the only one that we see that redirects the Force lightning, Mace Windu, and it actually does damage.
Palpatine.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. Mace Windu might have some better abilities than other people to be able to handle it.
Yeah. I'm just saying. I think Be honest with me without arguing your point.
Okay.
Did I come with a stronger argument than you would have thought? Is there at least things that have made you to go, okay, well, feet-wise, he is a little bit.
Feet-wise, original trilogy, I don't think he has much. I struggled there. Sequel trilogy, I think it was... When we were talking about it, I was starting to get really mad at the sequel trilogy, and it made me, re-brought up some feelings after I left the theater.
Yeah.
I think that's more of an all-Sith argument. I think it is impressive that Palpatine created a whole new fleet. I think that's impressive. He created a fleet of planet killers. Mm. Kind of over the top, if you ask me, but still impressive regardless. And then the original trilogy, I think I actually did okay. I think I countered your Jedi arguments a little bit better. I gave you Yoda and Mace. I still don't think... I would give Anakin maybe a 50-50, depending on how much he wants to use the Force. Mm-hmm. The rest of them, I discard. I don't know. Did your point of view shift at all?
No, just because I feel like doing the research, I'm like, okay, I shouldn't be able to find this many reasons. Mm. Now, I will say this. I think is supposed to be the strongest Sith ever, and he is very strong. Mm-hmm. And I think his main weapon actually is deception, which I think that is the whole war.
That is a pretty impressive feat to be around the Jedi all the time for years and not have him sense that that's a huge.
Yeah.
That's impressive in itself.
So I do think he has that deception. I guess my whole argument again is based off of in terms of actual power. I think he talks a big talk and he's not as powerful as he thinks he is, or as is shown. That's why, hence the argument, Palpatine is a fraud in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say, if I wanted to take over the world, he's probably the one person I'd rather have.
He might be.
Yeah.
He might be.
Yeah.
I just think, again, in terms of how he talks and how he acts like he's invincible, I think he's a fraud. So that was my general argument.
Okay, is that he talks the big talk but doesn't have anything to back it up?
Yeah, I think once he got the power...
Mm-hmm. I would be talking the big talk too. I'm the most powerful seat for... Actually,
there was one argument I forgot. Okay? Which is... I think this is actually a lack of argument on your part. Okay, that just ended. We'll get into this. This will be the final clip, I promise, guys. Welcome back. I got one final argument. Yeah. And I think, again, I'm surprised you didn't bring this up in his defense. I think one of the big arguments that people have is that he just killed 3 Jedi Masters.
Well, yeah, I thought that was a given, though. That is impressive. We don't see that very often. During the May the 4th special,
you probably I'm going to bring up a point. You said in the May the 4th special, no other Sith has done that. You had a hard line. Now you say not many times has it happened.
Yeah. Because of the one time. What was his name?
Kaimar. Yeah. Something. He kills 5+ Jedi in an actual fight. Mm-hmm. Palpatine had to use, even if the Force Screech does it, he had to use some Khan ability to freeze them.
Well,
Kaimar was
Khan ability. Let's talk about Khan ability.
You're talking about the disable things.
Well, I'm talking about also his helmet. That blocks Force.
Okay.
Right? That's a Khan. Right there. He did 2. He had 2. He had unethical fighting. It's you know what I'm talking about, right? Turning off the lightsaber and turning it on is a very unethical way to fight.
When he's actually dueling them, he isn't just one at a time. He's fighting multiple Jedi, and I would say there's some Masters in there and some Knights, and he's killed Masters because he killed the Wookiee before they arrived, is my understanding. Okay. And he uses his helmet, so he's using his whole body in the fight. Disable lightsaber, fight, stab.
I need one of those helmets.
And I would say, I think Palpatine was trying to use that Khan. My whole thought, maybe this has never been canon, my whole thought when he captured the Zelo Beast was he's doing this for armor and technology, because it's impenetrable.
That's what I think. Isn't that what it's for?
I don't know if that's ever confirmed.
Yeah.
So or to clone a perfect body, because he cloned the Zelo Beast.
Yeah.
So he wanted that technology.
Yeah.
Hymar, hundreds of years before, had it.
Yeah. I don't know.
You're telling me if you put Palpatine in that same situation, even with the same helmet, I don't think he wins that. Because I think Hymar was a better duelist.
Then Palpatine?
Yeah.
That's such a hot take. That's a hot
Probably.
take.
That's
a hot take. Because if you Google search that, I bet you he's not even on the top 10.
No, probably not.
Yeah. That's a very hot take. I would love to hear some comments on that. I don't know. I mean, I guess we don't know how good those Jedi he was fighting were. They weren't all council members.
No.
I don't even know if the main character in the Acolyte was a council member.
I don't know. He was a master, but I don't know. I guess I don't know if he was a council member.
Yeah. So, I don't know how good they were at dueling, so it's just hard to tell. I still think it was a fraudulent fight. Number one, they thought that's their first Sith encounter in thousands of years. I bet you they haven't lightsaber dueled against somebody like that. Especially somebody who's turning on and off his lightsaber. And the helmet, I don't even know if they probably knew about that. They were probably so taken back by it. He had the huge element of surprise. I think Palpatine would beat him, just to be clear.
Okay.
Just to be clear.
Maybe. Also, and I only bring that up, the hot take is not necessarily my main argument of him being a better duelist. It has nothing to do with the whole point of the argument is just to show that it has been done before, and technically it's been done at a higher level.
Not as quick as Palpatine did it.
Palpatine lost that fight.
Bang bang, but he killed 3.
I don't care, he killed 3 and lost the fight. This guy killed 5 plus and won and got away with it.
He killed 3, and then he probably faced the best duelist in the Jedi Order. Ever. And somebody who tampers into the dark side a little bit. I don't think there's any shame in losing to Mace Windu.
No, I'm just saying it's been done before and technically at a higher level.
I don't know. I think beating those 3 Jedi Council members beats beating whoever those 5 were. In my personal opinion.
I mean, maybe.
Because at least they knew what they were getting themselves into. Sort of. They knew he was a Sith. They knew we were coming in. They had to... I hope
they knew... In the Acolyte they knew. They brought all those Jedi because they knew they were going to get a Jedi killer.
Yeah, Jedi killer, not a full-blown Force user Sith.
You strap up with 20 guys, you're ready
and you talked about Palpatine being arrogant. That might have been when the Jedi were the most arrogant. In the Acolyte.
I don't think... Yeah, probably. That just doesn't have anything to do with...
Just to be clear, I'm trying to disprove the 5 Jedi. That's like my whole argument right now. I was disproving that.
He did it.
He did it, but it wasn't...
I think it's more than 5 Jedi, to be honest with you, but that I can physically see is 5, in the fight. Yeah. He kills more off screen, from my interpretation.
Yeah, he does.
But 5, that's why there's 5 plus. So I'm just saying.
And we don't know what Plagueis is going to do with him.
Well, we won't know.
Yeah, fans. I actually like the Acolyte, but we'll get into that later. Yeah. If Plagueis ends up being his apprentice and kills him, then Palpatine knows everything that he does.
But that would, if Plagueis kills him, if you're saying Plagueis might be Kymer's apprentice, not the other way around.
I mean, it could be one. Wait, he was scared of some figure? He had some master, didn't he? I can't remember exactly. If Plagueis is his master,
he thinks he's acting alone, but I think Plagueis is influencing him.
Okay.
Without him knowing.
On the outside, without him knowing, is your okay?
But I don't know.
So, if Plagueis is manipulating him and Palpatine, I don't know. I think they're at worst same level.
Okay.
At worst same level.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I had a pretty decent argument today. This might give me a lot of flack. I think people are going to think Palpatine's not a fraud, but I think I present a pretty good case.
I do respect you for trying to make the argument. It's not an easy argument to make, and you brought up some good points.
I did video research. Google research as well. So.
Yeah. Maybe we should do top duelists, and I want to see where you rank Palpatine in top duelists. Because I feel like...
Well, he would be on a list. He's not in a top 5 for me. So, it depends on how deep you want to go.
Would it go top 10?
Maybe. We'd have to probably be another long.
You gotta put him in the top 10. Well, okay. Well, all right.
But yeah. This is long. We will look at how best to roll this one out.
Yeah.
I know it can be a doozy to sit down and probably watch this whole thing. So I would say our goal maybe is going to be to split this up.
Yeah.
Maybe honestly, we could probably do it in terms of the prequel trilogy, one argument,
the top
and
5
then
that you had.
yep,
Yeah.
and then the next 2.
Yeah.
But we'll take a look at how to do that for you guys. So hopefully you guys either learned something or we changed your mind either one way or another.
But let us know in the comments. Tell us who was or what your opinion is, because I think we both had some good points made. But we're looking forward to seeing you guys soon.
Yeah, thanks guys.